Hi guys and welcome to my record collection video. Now I used to do a lot of DVD updates and CD updates and stuff like that, which I think I'll eventually redo when I move back home from uni. I think I'll just redo all those videos basically because I've got so much since moving here, there's not really much point doing an update. Something I never did before was my record collection, and it wasn't very big before when I was collecting CDs and stuff at home. But recently the collection's gotten bigger. I have taken a lot of my parents' old records and I've bought a lot of my own, so I decided I'd go through them, and it's not like a definitive collection or anything. Like, I'm getting records all the time, so I'll do updates and stuff every once in a while. Today I'm just going to talk about the ones I currently own. I've got quite a lot of 12 inches and a few 7 inches as well to get into. So first up, we have Arctic Monkeys' first album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's Why I'm Not. So my girlfriend actually got me this for my birthday. It's one of my favourite albums ever. So for those who don't know, this album's one of the pioneer albums of the post-punk revival / garage rock era of the early 2000s. It has a lot of really big tracks, songs like I Bet That You Look Good on the Dance Floor and When the Sun Goes Down, two of the band's biggest songs ever. And it's, to date, one of their most successful albums. I think it's actually the most successful debut album in the UK to date, which is pretty impressive. And although I think Favourite Worst Nightmare's just a little bit better than this is still one of my favourites and one of their best albums to date. Even like Suck It and See and AM don't come anywhere near to comparing with just the ferocity and intensity of this album. So earlier I said a lot of these records are actually ones I've taken from my parents, and a lot of them I haven't actually gotten around to listening to yet, including this Bauhaus compilation. It's 1979 to 1983. It's got this really cool sort of shiny, like gold, like glossy sort of texture on the front, and it looks really cool. I borrowed this because I'm a big fan of Bela Lugosi's Dead, one of my favourite gothic rock songs ever. This band are like one of the pioneer bands in post-punk and gothic rock. Their song Bela Lugosi's Dead is considered by a lot of people to be the very first gothic rock song. I really need to get around to listening to this because I am a big fan of sort of gothic rock. Especially recently I've been getting into it a lot, and Bauhaus are like one of the big bands in the genre, along with The Cure and Susie and the Banshees and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out when I eventually do, but I haven't yet. Then we have the Beach Boys' 20 Golden Greats. I haven't listened to any Beach Boys album except for this. This is it's a greatest hits one, like the Bauhaus one I just showed off. It's got some fucking great songs on there. Songs like Surfing USA, I Get Around, Wouldn't It Be Nice, Good Vibrations, God Only Knows. Like, all the big Beach Boys hits are on this album. I really want to get an original pressing of Pet Sounds. I've not listened to the album yet, but it's like considered to be one of like the most influential albums ever, so I really want to pick up an original pressing of this. I have listened to this a couple times actually. Makes me really want to get into the Beach Boys because I haven't really done that. But obviously all the classic Beach Boys songs are on here, so it's a great compilation album. And next up we have one of my most recent albums. For a long time I didn't really care about getting like original pressings. I'd just buy albums as I found them, so a lot of the ones I own, a lot of the older ones anyway, are going to be repressings. But this is the only like original pressing that I bought myself, and I bought it pretty cheap, and it's one of my favourite albums in my collection. As soon as I saw it going for the price it was going for, I just had to get it. It is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles, the original 1967 stereo pressing on vinyl. It's got this really beautiful, like, smooth, glossy cover as well. It just feels great. The only issue is it doesn't come with, like, the posters and, like, stuff that it used to come with, but, I mean, I'm buying a second-hand original pressing. I wasn't expecting it to come with all the bits and bobs and stuff, but it has the record in there. It does skip a couple of times, but, I mean, I can't really complain. It's an album, like, from the 60s. Like, it's still really, really cool to have. It's not my favourite Beatles album, but it's definitely up there. I love this album. My favourite's probably Abbey Road, which I don't own yet, one, I need to go. I need to get that. I need to get it on original pressing as well. But yeah, obviously this is actually being re-released soon. They're getting a huge, big deluxe vinyl CD release, but it's so expensive. I just don't see the point. It's cheaper to get the original pressing, which I got for like £15, I think, including shipping. It was super cheap, so it's not really much point in going out and getting the new version. But yeah, obviously this is considered to be the greatest album ever made. I wouldn't really agree, but I mean, for the time, what it did was just mind-blowing, and it does hold up to this day. Definitely one of the best in the band's discography, in my opinion. And carrying on with the Beatles, we've got the White Album. This is a repressing, the newest repressing from like 2012, I think. Yeah, obviously it has the like embossed little The Beatles logo there. And it did come with all the posters. I've got the poster. I don't know if you can just about see the poster in the back that came with it, and obviously it's got all the let's see if I can get them out, the A4s of the band members. There's the John Lennon one, the glossy little A4s that come with of all the band members. It has one of every single one. I think this is one of their best albums, similar to Sgt. Pepper's. I actually think this is better than that one. A lot of people complain that it's kind of all over the place. Like, there's many great moments on this, but they're also shadowed by some of the band's worst songs, like Everyone's Got Something to Hide, But Me and My Monkey, and Revolution 9. But the best moments of this album are some of the best songs ever written. Songs like, just going through the track list, there's like Back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Happiness is a Warm Gun, I'm So Tired, Blackbird, I Will, Julia, Birthday, Sexy Sadie, Helter Skelter. Yeah, that's all the ones that I love on this album. It's definitely a fantastic album, and it sounds great on vinyl also. I would like to have an original pressing of it, but I mean, even the remastered version sounds great anyway, so I'm not too fussed. I also got it pretty cheap. Before I was looking into getting it, and it was like £40 at the most. Like it ranged between like £30 and £40 normally, but I got it for £20 in Sainsbury's, no less. Yeah, Sainsbury's in the UK, for some reason they've started doing vinyls. I don't know, a lot of big like superstores, like supermarkets and stuff, have been doing vinyls now, and this is one of the ones I got. And my last Beatles records, I've got the Blue and Red compilation albums. These are actually my parents' original ones that I grew up listening to. It's quite weird to have these still, but this is how I originally discovered the Beatles back when I was like 4 or 5. Like, I used to throw these on quite a lot, especially the later one, the blue one from 67 to 1971, with all the tracks from their later discography, more of the psychedelic stuff than like the early rock and roll stuff, with songs like Sgt. Pepper's, Strawberry Fields Forever, I Am the Walrus, Back in the USSR, Here Comes the Sun, those sort of songs. Yeah, these are great compilations. They really do have the best songs that the band have ever done. So if you've never listened to the band before, and which I'd be very surprised about, and you're looking for a place to jump on, definitely check out these compilations because they're just fantastic. And I actually listen to them quite regularly, especially since I've only got the other 2 Beatles albums. Like, there's a lot on these that I like checking out every once in a while. I want to go and get the entire band's discography. But yeah, for now, these are really great greatest hits albums. And then we have another one of my parents' records that I've not listened to yet, which I don't actually understand because the singles on this album that I've heard, I adore. So I really need to give this album a listen. It's Parallel Lines by Blondie, one of the landmark albums of the new wave genre, especially in the late 70s, early 80s. There's tracks like Hanging on the Telephone, One Way or Another, and Heart of Glass on here. So they're pretty iconic, huge hits that, yeah, I just love these songs. So I really need to give the album a proper listen, and I will do that soon, hopefully. Next up, we have one of my favourite albums ever. we have Hunky Dory by David Bowie. Not my favourite Bowie album. Ziggy Stardust is probably my favourite, which I don't actually own. This is one of my parents' ones, an original pressing again. But this album is just fucking fantastic. Songs like Changes, Oh You Pretty Things, Life on Mars, my favourite Bowie song ever. Also songs like Kooks, Quicksand, Queen Bitch. There's some of Bowie's most recognisable and iconic songs on this album, and I really like the back, how it's all like written in like weird scrawly handwriting. I love the artwork of this album, and it's just a fantastic album. If you've not listened to Bowie, again, this is definitely a great place to start. And next we have Heroes, not my favourite Bowie album, definitely not even up there really, but it's definitely still a really good one. Obviously the title track is just fantastic, and it's part of, I think it's a trilogy of albums which I really do like, along with, I believe it's Lodger and Lower, the other two ones in the trilogy. They're the ones that he did with Brian Eno. Yeah, they definitely are a great representation of who Bowie was back in the, I think it's, yeah, the mid to late 70s. Definitely a really, really good solid album, but not one of my favourites. And then finishing off my Bowie collection, we have this Fame and Fashion Greatest Hits album. This is actually a really, really good one. You may notice I have a lot of Greatest Hits albums, not intentional, but so be it. This has the songs Space Odyssey, Changes, Starman, 1984, Young Americans, Fame, Golden Years, TVC 15, Heroes, DJ, Fashion, and Ashes to Ashes. Just some fantastic songs. There's a lot of songs that are missing that could have been on there, like Life on Mars isn't on there. There's only one song from Ziggy Stardust, which I don't really understand. It's kind of a very, very basic Greatest Hits album, but it's still got some classics on there. Hi guys, so this is just a quick thing I'm putting in the middle of the video. I'm going to split this up because I went on for a long time, so I'm going to split this into a few parts. So this is the end of part 1, so come back for part 2 if it's up now, or you'll come back now, or whenever, I don't know.